On July 23rd of 1945, the Imperial Japanese Navy submarine I-401 left Ominato Naval Base and slipped into the Pacific Ocean. Her departure was not quiet, as a shore battery mistook her for an American and opened fire, giving her a final, if potentially deadly, salute. The I-401 was a powerful sub. She had been designed as an aircraft carrier submarine with an impressively long range, and her mission had been to strike at the Panama Locks deep within the American sphere of control. But for the Japanese Empire, the hour was desperate, and she was diverted to save the homeland. Now her 3 Aichi M6A Seirans, with their deadly payloads of 850-kilogram bombs, would attack the American anchorage at Ulithi. While in Ominato, the Seirans had been painted blue and had their roundels covered with American stars. The pilots thought this was disgraceful, but they dutifully obeyed, reasoning that confusing the American defenders and increasing their chances for success overshadowed the dishonor. Their voyage was short, and in the dying days of the war, confusing. On the 15th of August, the Emperor addressed his people over the radio waves, and his subjects for the first time heard the voice from the chrysanthemum throne. The message he delivered was another first for the Japanese people: defeat. Aboard the I-401, the officers determined that this must be a ruse, so incredible was the thought of loss. But 3 days later, she received orders to cancel the attack and return to Japan. On the 25th, the command came to hoist the black flag of surrender and disarm. The sailors carried out their duties, casting their weapons into the sea. They took special care to jettison the Seirans with their disgraceful false flags. She was captured later in August and seized by the Americans. So impressed by her technology, the Americans determined that she couldn't fall into the hands of the Soviets. After hurriedly learning all they could from the I-401, they sank her as a target. Now she lies, with so many of her compatriots, in the silent deep, a distant memory of the fury and desperation of war. Hello everyone, I hope you liked my little video. And by the way, if you did, you know what to do. One thing I really liked about building the I-401 was learning all about it, because honestly, let's face it, this was a really unique boat. I mean, well, there was the I-400 also, but anyway, the Japanese were especially interested in the potential of the aircraft carrying submarines. And although they weren't the only ones to build subs that could carry airplanes, they pretty much took the idea to its logical conclusion. In fact, if you think of it, these are essentially the progenitors of the modern ballistic missile subs. In the case of the I-401, the Japanese could circumnavigate the globe and launch 3 Seirans within 300 miles of a target. I mean, it's not quite the same thing as being able to destroy the entire northern hemisphere from beneath the North Pole, but it was 1945. Give the guys some credit. Those Seirans are also really cool planes too. Leave me a comment below, by the way, if you'd like to see me build my Tamiya kit. I've got one, it's in my stash, I've been thinking about it for a while now. Also, the design of the I-401 had to be so big that the Japanese actually innovated new designs for the hull construction, which influenced later submarine construction. So again, the I-401 was a very advanced design. I think that the problem for the Imperial Japanese Navy was that they never actually standardized a design for submarines, meaning that they would never churn them out at the same rate that the Germans or the Americans could. And their doctrine also spurned commerce rating and focused more on decisive battle. Again, The Japanese never really got to exercise this in a meaningful way. Subs did participate in some major battles, but they didn't ever achieve the intended interception and whittling down the enemy forces before decisive battle role that they were supposed to do. I mean, I guess as an American, I can't really complain all that much. As for this model, it is really fun and really easy. As you see it, the model itself is almost out of the box. I did add some rigging, but there's not a whole lot to add. And also these little IJN photo etch crew members, I added those too. Individually, I don't really like the crew members. I think that even in the 1/700 scale, they look like little paper dolls, but I think overall, like all together, I like how they actually add character and story to the kit. I wanted to depict them destroying all of their stuff right after they were ordered to disarm, so I made a black flag out of tinfoil and paint. I tried my best to make a 1/700 scale bomb for the crane to be dropping into the sea. And of course, the Seirons have their false colors on, and there's one in the ocean. I imagine that the sailors, or at least the pilots, would have given them one last banzai when they launched without floats to sink to the bottom. This is also a waterline kit, so of course I have to put it in a seascape. I used my normal toilet paper technique, and to make the sea foam, I actually used glow powder. I tried to get a picture of it glowing, but unfortunately my phone doesn't really take pictures at night, and maybe it does, but I don't know how to do it. Anyway, I really like using the glow powder because if you get the right shade, it looks like bubbles or sea foam, spume if you want to get technical. And in the dark, it mimics phosphorescence. Now, if you don't know, go look up phosphorescence. It's really cool. I remember one night on the tall ship, we were motoring off Washington, and it looked like we had this big iridescent line stretching out behind us. Anyway, everything on the kit fit well. It was fairly simple and straightforward, and if you're looking for a great little kit of one of the most interesting subs of World War II, this is the kit for you. Finally, if you made it this far, you're probably a subscriber. And if you're not, maybe consider subscribing since you've made it this far. Anyway, I'll let you know that I had been planning on a cool diorama that was going to have, like, you know, German soldiers and a motorcycle and all this cool stuff is going to be a bookend, but my computer decided to take a dump and took with it all of the files that I have, so I'm still working on working that out. And then, any case, I put the bookend on hold, and then I got busy with school. Sorry, I took on a little too much, and I'm actually getting paid for that, so alas. Anyway, there's some other projects that I am working on that I'm excited to share with you, and I'm back into the swing of things for a little bit here. We'll see how regular I can be, but stay with me. And, yeah, stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of the cool stuff coming up. And as always, I wish you joy in your lives, and I hope to see you again soon.